and just hit keep. All right, sweet. Okay.
Okay, where did he go?
Am I going to get a countdown here? And then to start this.
So you can give us a countdown
Okay.
if you want.
You ready?
I mean, yeah.
Are you just going to walk in then?
Yes.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Joel! Hey, buddy.
I had to jump the fence today.
Yeah, look out. Don't hurt yourself. Don't pull a hammy.
Oh, man.
Casual
How's it
Friday.
going? Oh,
That was terrible. Let's try again.
that was
Almost
worse.
third time. Yes.
Yes.
Joel.
You damaged that hand. It's a hand damaging Friday.
That was all right. That was worth it, though. I need this hand for the weekend. Wait a minute. So what is going on with you? Because I have not even seen you all week.
No.
For real.
I even forgot you existed.
I
I
know.
was thinking, what happened to that Frank guy? It was like Wednesday. And I started thinking that, and then, yeah.
I knew my ears were burning.
Yeah. And then I just
Feel
went,
it.
I went, and then went back to what I was doing. So it was cool. So God, it's been such a boring week, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's been slow. It's been a slow Tucson week.
I've had one of my most boring weeks of my life.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I can't even think of it. I ate like the same thing for dinner every day.
Really?
It was one of those like just, am I in some sort of like simulator kind of
Some
thing?
horrible Groundhog Day style.
Yeah. Jess is still out of town, so that's always, you know.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's getting boring. It's just rotation.
Yeah, still living that single life.
Another human being to bounce ideas off of, you know?
I have been relatively busy, but also in like solitude. Okay?
Like Fortress or something? Like,
Fortress of Solitude
Wow.
style stuff. Exactly that, to be honest with
Philosophizing
you.
and-
Yes, as well as mostly playing with all of my old toys.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
'Cause-
Which is what happened in the Fortress of Solitude.
Hey, you got to set that place up eventually, right?
Show you those scenes.
They don't show you the scenes
Yeah.
where he's like making an ice sculpture and he's setting up the zoo and all that stuff, all these stupid
Yeah.
space aliens
X-ray
things.
vision,
Yeah,
using the-
he sets up all these super robots. I'm not sure if you know much about this Fortress of Solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Superman also ailing from your thing of not wanting to be forever alone because he can't just seal the deal.
Yeah. I know that's what that's. He's Superman.
It's true. It's true. But still.
Maybe he needs a little more self-confidence.
some
He's
of
calling
that
himself Superman.
Yeah,
but-
some of that super confidence.
Yeah.
So he builds Superman robots in his likeness to help him maintain the whole fortress.
Okay. Do they have his powers as well?
A little bit, but they're still robots.
But he keeps them in check. He
Yeah,
doesn't
because
quite
they,
give up.
as you'd be.
That's a smart god. There.
Yeah, you wouldn't be surprised that they do often gain minds of their own and sentience. Their eyes go red. They start attacking. He's got to fight
It
these
happens, like,
robots.
every 4 days.
Yeah, just about.
Just never learns.
Just about. So one of these days he'll realize, why do I keep building these super robots? But yes, much like the Fortress of Solitude, I had to, that's what I'm doing. So remember, stand against couches, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, continuing with it. You
Throw out your
staying
couch.
Strong? All
Yes.
right, nice. So is the couch gone?
I've gotten rid of one
Did you burn
couch.
it?
No,
Oh.
sold it for a profit.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
That's sweet profit. We are in America.
That's right,
Yeah.
because you know how much that couch was worth?
How much?
Worthless. And I got
Oh.
some money for it, hence
Okay.
profit.
All right, nice.
Yes.
What are we talking here?
So, 20 bucks.
Got a couple fins?
Yeah, 20 bucks. That's fine.
Yeah.
But so why I'm doing that is because what I tell you, I'm gonna clear out my whole space there, the main living room
Oh, yeah,
that I've got
okay.
like
Yeah.
a living room table and a couch and another couch and a recliner. Who's coming over? Let me
Right,
tell
you
you.
have a dinner party over
No,
there, or do you have, yeah.
exactly. Then that's the problem. I think a lot of us in this generation, we've got these things like couches and living rooms.
Just in
and,
case the dinnerware,
Right.
like, you know, that one set of crystal.
Exactly.
We'll use it when.
Mine are WrestleMania cups, but yes, the exact same thing.
Same idea though.
Yes.
When those I was going to say Randy Savage. Then I was going to say Jake the Snake.
Ooh, yeah.
The name of his wrestler wasn't dead.
Yeah, either one. They're both of them.
when
Both
the
of them.
Undertaker comes
Jake
over,
the
is he
Snake is
still around?
alive. Yeah, Jake the Snake's still with us. He's
Is
on
he?
the yes. Some of that
Oh.
DDP yoga saved his life. Jake the Snake will be at the
okay. I
Tucson Comic Con.
Oh.
For real.
Oh, really? Okay.
In November.
So maybe you will get to use your WrestleMania cups
Oh,
if he decides to come over.
Jake the Snake is the type of wrestler that would crash on your couch. It's true.
No, exactly. No, I knew where he was going. I saw under the mat.
It's the truth.
Behind the mat.
Beyond the mat.
Beyond the mat. It was some before the mat, or was
Between the inside the between the one something wrestling the movie.
between the sheets?
Yes. So I decided to throw out the couch. I've got 2 more couches to go. because what I want to do is I want to set up. Hey, do you remember I told you I do this show after hours with Frank Powers? Of course I did.
Yeah.
I never stopped talking.
You've mentioned that. I think
So-
I believe a week ago today.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So one of the things that someone said to me about this very topic is that how can you have a talk show? Talk shows have couches. And I'm like, oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But then I came up with a better idea. Do you remember what I want to do?
You don't want to do, but you wanted something different, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Different.
You don't have a couch.
Little
You have
pizzazz, a little
like,
zing.
waiting pool or something.
Well, we don't want to steal the pool gimmick. Come on.
Oh, okay.
I want to steal from myself. You got to spread your ideas out.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be
Although it
water
could be
based.
branded. Yeah,
Let's say
that's your thing.
Lakeside.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
where the money's at.
Sure, and then a big one is Oceanside. The one there,
Oceanside.
That yacht. That's
Oh
when
my
you know
God.
we made it.
Yes.
We're out in the yacht.
Out on that yacht. I know I got pictures already. So what I'm doing is I'm going to get rid of the other couch if my roommate allows it. And then I'm going to get rid of the other couch, which I can get rid of anytime.
Is he
Get
not
it out.
aware you're doing this right now? He's.
Well, he was on a trip and he came back and I said to him, hey,
I got rid of everything.
I have a question. How attached are you to this couch? And he's like, pretty attached. I bought it and picked it out. I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's meaningless. We don't need this couch. We haven't used it in a year.
I should have even asked you the question.
Right. I should have just gotten rid of it while he was gone. But throw out the couches so that I can have this creative space. And then, much like that talk show, where usually on talk shows, that's what you have. You have a desk, a couch, and a city, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I want to change it to where we're sitting in the city and we look like giant kaiju monsters. And then and then hang up maybe a picture of a couch. Perhaps that's the background.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I think that's the trick. So sit in the city.
The backdrop is the couch.
Backdrop is a couch.
Right, okay.
But I might have changed it again. Yes. So I was going through all my toys, right? And I've got bins and bins of toys. I'm not a lunatic. I used to own a store, and I'm a big nerd. And I did own a toy store for a minute there, that art gallery, filled with toys. Now I've got all these toys.
People that yell, "I'm not a lunatic," are usually lunatics for yelling.
I'm a calm and sensitive genius, or whatever that quote.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a very stable genius. All right, listen to my genius. I have a plan. So the plan is, I've got all these things in tubs and bins. All these Spider-Man, Wolverine, the Hulk. I have a whole collection of that. Every Simpsons figure, all these Simpsons, all this awesome stuff. And I look through all of it to see what I can get rid of and give to the kids to raise money for the comic book mobile. All right, and then what I want to keep because they're mine. So I didn't want.
That's gonna be buried with you.
Well, perhaps. Depends. You gotta, stand against coffins. That'll be the next thing. I've never done.
Yeah.
I want to be in a mausoleum just posed like this. You can stand next to me and take photos.
I want to be like accusing.
Just
whoever's ever looking at me. You
Just
did
have me
this.
taxidermied, or we'll get some of those Superman robots. I'll make some Frank robots, so you can have all the poses and various emotions. So that's the idea. So now, and I was going to ask your genuine opinion of this.
Okay.
Instead of
Thank you for valuing my.
your
opinion.
genuine value opinion,
Wow.
Feng Shui, super important.
Okay.
Because the first thing that's already happened is like the amount of stuff I've already eliminated has made what my life was. Imagine you lived inside the Pac-Man game. That's basically how I navigated my house.
Yeah,
I
right,
got to step
You're
over this
you're
table to
always
get around a
bumping
box.
into something.
Yeah,
Sure.
4 computer chairs. Oh, another couch in the way.
Right.
Just got to get all
Took
these
strategy to get around. Yeah.
Now, out in the trash, a lot of that stuff. Getting rid of
Nice.
as much furniture as I can. I bought a storage unit like I was talking about. Now things are coming together. Feng Shui. I've moved all this stuff out of the way.
Okay.
But because I keep moving things out of the way, I reach a decision. I'm like, oh, I'll do maybe the city and the set will be here. And then wait, have another decision. What if we sat in the city and couch behind us? Wait, what about another decision? So now I'm like 5 decisions in, where I never would have reached the 5th decision if I hadn't started moving things, because you can't. You can't think past a thing
right,
until
right,
you're
right, 'cause you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you got to move that furniture around. You got to play with the space.
Right.
You got to play with that space.
Sure. It's like a chess game.
Yes, and I even have tile floors, so there's little squares.
Sure. So it,
I was thinking of making a game out of the tile floors, but let's slow down and only focus on one thing.
That's number 6 idea now.
Yes.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
I was thinking about it. So now I'm thinking about what if I took, for real, because remember I was going to do a green screen, but we have a green screen down at the studio, wherever that is.
Yeah.
And I figured, all right, so I don't need a green screen. And then it's like, well, I could have a wall and put like pictures up and have all these various pictures. But then you know me, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if I hung 100 something pictures up? And I'm like, okay, slow down. And then I realize as I'm moving all this crap around, it's all in these big bins, wasting away all these cool toys, collectibles, statues, fun things, sitting in bins. And it's like, the most reasonable use of this stuff in space would be to take all the stuff out of the bins and set it up, all of it.
It's the most reasonable thing.
Reasonable. It's just sitting in crates. Of course, no one can enjoy it. That's like getting a tattoo of a mustache on your finger and never showing anyone. What would that do? What would that do? Right? Now, let's do a test on the opposite. See? Look at your face. Full of delight and glee. What if I never showed that to anyone? It's a crime. It's like leaving your toys in the bin for no one to see.
Yeah, you can also sell them or do something with them. That might be the most.
What are you going to sell your children, Joel? What kind of a monster are you? Foster children, I'm sure, but still, I don't want to hear anything like that. I've sold all that I could. I had a store. I've done eBay. I'm like plus 28,000 gold stars on eBay. I got all this stuff. I'm done selling. It's over.
Yeah.
I've tried.
So you're stuck with them.
These are now mine. That's it. I have a Superman statue worth $1,000. It's really only worth that if someone offers you $1,000, isn't it?
Like everyone's
Right.
clamoring to give you.
Right. What's value really worth? I love this stuff. I love it. So I'm just gonna, you know what? Let's treat it right. So
Right.
I'm deciding on whether I'm gonna buy. Imagine it's about this big, about 16 feet across, right? 16 feet from there to there, of nothing but bookshelves filled with toys and statues, as now the background for then the city and talk show.
Okay.
What do you think of that? You think it might be too busy?
Yep. I do. I was gonna say I
Do you
didn't know if
think?
you considered that, but the whole time I'm gonna be like, oh, that's the.
Do you think the whole
And then
time?
it's like, oh, there's a TV show going on.
Of course.
I think it would be like any time that it got even a little bit slow, your eyes would go to that. So.
You think it's distracting?
Totally, like 100%.
I'm having a tough time. I'm having a tough time trying to decide on what to do then.
I think maybe for like a segment or something.
Okay, so maybe one of the walls is all that, and then I
Yeah,
still leave the
and
back
you
wall blank so that I can still do stuff with it. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because you want options there, maybe? Because I was also thinking I could put up a curtain so we could cover the things up certain times, but then other times not. So that's the
Okay.
idea of having a curtain.
And then it's like a signal to like,
Yeah.
oh, it's time for
Maybe.
milk the cow.
Collectible
Yeah.
milk the cow.
I don't know.
What kind of thing is that?
I was picturing like a farmhouse.
Why?
I don't know.
I've described in quite detail what I'm going to
Yeah,
set
I
up.
know.
There's no farmhouses.
I'd like a
involved.
farmhouse. is all
Okay,
I'm
you can
saying.
have your
You said you
farmhouse.
value my opinion, and I want a farmhouse.
Well,
okay?
that's-
I want chickens and goats.
We can set up when we throw out your couch. We can put chickens and goats in your house before your wife comes home.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll set up chickens and goats and set it up. You have your farm show
tend to them
called
for a little
Milk
bit.
the Cow,
Yeah.
and it'll be great. I bet.
Right.
It's good that we're doing
No.
separate projects.
Yeah.
So
Finally figure out how to chocolate milk is made.
I know how. Do you
Oh,
want to know the gross secret behind chocolate milk and how it's made?
sure.
So, you know this thing in America where we like to really just get things done real fast and maybe pump a
Real
bunch
quick. Get it out there. We don't care.
You see those
Good,
bovines
just,
that they pumped up full of.
Yeah, there's like wrestler, like MMA fighting
Yes, they're like
cows.
MMA cows,
Yeah.
and so they can produce more milk and more milk.
Get it out there.
The thing about milk and the cow, after a while, those teats start to bleed.
Yeah.
So that's where they put the bloody milk, is they dye it and make it chocolate milk. Because it's not necessarily bad,
Yeah,
it just
it
doesn't look good.
Yeah. I
So
think
then
most
let's make it
things-
chocolate milk.
Yeah.
So that's the secret of chocolate
Sure.
milk.
Yeah. I don't get grossed up by that kind of stuff. Everything's like that.
So, is everything like
I mean, every time, every few years, whenever the McRib comes out, there's always those articles. This is what's really in the McRib. Like, yeah, it's gross like everything. Apparently, Cheetos are like this like disgusting gray color, and they
Really?
make it orange because it looks like cheese.
Because
Whatever.
orange is delicious.
Interesting. The oh, I'm getting hives.
Well, that heat rash, you gotta
Yeah.
watch out
Oh,
for this
getting-
desert sun.
Yeah.
Gotta watch that heat rash.
What is this thing?
Some sort of weird bug.
Yeah. Oh, get
Watch
out
yourself.
of here, bug.
Yeah, don't worry about
I'm
it.
just gonna leave.
Plus, you've got chest hair. I have no chest hair at all.
A little
I've
bit.
got
I don't have much. It goes.
I've got a
What
little.
you see is pretty
Oh,
much.
is this
what
one
you get.
gray? Oh my
I
God.
think I get just the right amount of chest hair. It's
You have just
a
the right
little
amount?
bit because it doesn't. Sometimes I don't want tufts.
You don't want tufts?
No. What did you just say there? So the food thing, right?
Go on.
So we didn't get done with your thing.
Well, I was just about to say about Feng Shui in your chest. We got to move that hair around and make it work, but you said it was just right.
Yeah.
The baby bear's porridge.
So, do you want to go on to the? All right. So
Yeah.
we were talking about the whole food thing, right? Like
For a
that kind of
second.
like. So we're sort of like in a period where like kind of we're waking up to food and like how it's made and stuff like that. You see a lot like that Forks and Knives documentary, when stuff like that, Food Inc. and more about factory farming and things like that. So it reminds me of something that you said last week when you said like when we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, like people were like adorable. That was the word we used, right? Adorable.
I think I'm still quite adorable. I don't know what
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
so cute. But can you explain what you meant by that? Because we didn't really go into it.
I think like naive and innocent.
Yeah.
A
yeah,
naivete
Uh-huh.
was this whole thing that we all had kind of growing up, and kind of in the decade, in the era that we grew up a little bit, because of that thing I told you about it being of a zennial, some term for not a millennial and not like a baby boomer and not like all these terms.
Yeah.
A zennial, Generation X, we're like a little too young for that.
Yeah,
but we're in this little pocket, all right, where they've tried to say, because the term millennial gets thrown around, and they're trying to be like, oh, anyone born
it covers like 20 to 40
and they're
or
full of
something.
baloney,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not the same generation as like a 21-year-old.
No. But I'm willing to bet that's when some of it started to trickle, and started to happen. But it depends on where you lived, I bet.
Yeah.
Because when I grew up, it wasn't everyone wins a trophy. It wasn't all that stuff. It was still kind of old-timey. I call it the Wonder Years, a little bit of growing up in like this 50s, morning in America again, that Reagan brought back. And it was this 50s kind of like positive move. And also in the 80s, this entertainment boom happened where, and watch what happens. So I realized this a long time ago. The year 1984 is such a big deal for all these types of like events, not just Big Brother, but like all these real movies that came out that are like still to this day we talk about, and you'd be so shocked at all this stuff. So now I found out the next Wonder Woman movie's taking place in 1984. There's another movie coming out about 1984. There's all this stuff that they're set like Stranger Things. Like it's set like 1984. Like
right.
it's almost like one of these things where everyone realizes it. So now a lot of media is based on that. So going forward, a lot of stuff's gonna be based on that 80s, because I think it's this last little pocket. Now we're far away enough from it it was like that 50s nostalgia. You can look back on it and it is quaint. There's a quaintness to it.
Yeah, right.
There's a quaintness to watching someone have to go to the phone and pick up a phone.
Yeah.
And the fact that now, I don't answer phone calls that I don't know the number.
Sure.
When it used to be a fight to get the phone. Who's at the door?
When you were going out, it's like if you called somebody too late, they weren't home. It's like, well, you don't have plans anymore.
Right. Okay, simple as that. You used to call on your friends, can so-and-so come out and play? I'm sure that doesn't happen as much, where they probably, hey, can you come out?
Yeah.
You don't go and you don't ask the mom on a Saturday morning, can Billy come out?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of this stuff. Like, it's,
yes and no.
It's fun. Like, there's no like benefits to having to like call somebody.
No,
but the naive word, I think is interesting.
It's that, but there is a bit of fear that I've noticed that's grown around us. Okay, and I call it stranger danger. Yeah, stranger danger is very good for when you're a kid in a way. You got to learn those lessons. Don't walk off with a stranger. But as you grow up, I watch all these adult friends I have now, and this is where they talk about the stuntedness of the millennial generation and also some of the zennials, all right? There is a stuntedness. And who am I to talk? I was just talking about all my toys and fun stuff, right? Yeah, but I bust my ass and I work real hard because I know that that's what it takes to be like
those kids do.
Mature.
That's not fair.
I'm not picking on all those kids. I'm saying I'm talking about toys, right?
Yeah.
So here's me talking about how be mature people as, look, idiot, right? But I still kind of know what it is. I meet a lot of people, they do not know. They do not know how to work hard. They do not know. They don't get it.
Right.
They don't. And they're our age, plenty of people that are like, I need to go back to school. And it's like, yes, you do. You do need to go back to school because school was a good lesson in how to be a person in a way.
Yeah, how to complete something too.
Yep, how to deal with strangers, work in groups, work and fail, work on something you don't know. You know how many
people you don't like, and not losing your mind and hitting, getting violent.
You know how many people, they can't handle that? Because I noticed this. So I got to talk to someone recently, and I talked about this thing that I realized. I was talking to a buddy, and I brought this up a while ago to you, about I noticed that I walk toward things that scare me now, okay? And the thing about people is that a lot of people like to be comfortable, right? Even if you're like, let's go to this concert on Saturday. Saturday rolls around and your girlfriend asks you, do you want to go? Because it's always easier to stay home.
Yeah, for sure.
And sit on that damn couch.
Where it's like, I kind of want to go to this thing, but
that's
also
why,
I don't want to leave the house.
Right, and that's why, again, take stand-downs couches, but also, you buy those tickets early. That's how you get people. Those pre-sale tickets. Oh, we got the tickets already.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what gets people out of the house.
Yeah. Works for me too is not going home. If I go like straight from work.
Exactly, because kind of once you're there, you settle in.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've noticed that that's a thing. Whether it's a challenge of I want to learn to play guitar, I want to learn a new language. Okay, challenges. When you're a kid, you're kind of up for these challenges. Your life is nothing but failing. As you get older, you don't like that stuff. You like to remain comfortable.
Yeah.
I've noticed people, they just bang their head against a wall, especially creative people, about how to solve this light switch problem. And it's not a light switch. You got to work real hard, a bunch, before things start to roll.
Yeah.
And a lot of art folks, it's like a lot. Well, I've already been doing this. I'm like, have you though?
Yeah, right. They haven't actually been taking
right,
action.
right.
Thought a lot about it. A lot of research.
Yep. And that's a lot of what it is. So I've noticed that with a lot of our generation is a lot of people are afraid of stuff, so they back away. You know, even if it is, I need to practice guitar. I'm going to try guitar. After attempt number 10, that's enough. And if you're 12, you just go to your room and you'll do it for 4 hours.
Right.
Because there's not as much crap in your way and bills and being an adult and all the responsibility that comes along with it and blame and how you feel as a person. Because sometimes, just that age you get to, it does bother people. Oh, I'm 30, I'm 31, I can't go back to school. Baloney.
Yeah, for sure. And
If you need
people there.
if you need to do it, you do it.
So to go back to the word naivete.
Yeah.
So I was reading a thing earlier today about the benefits of being naive, because we usually think of that as like a negative term, but being naive. But they were talking.
Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, but they were what you were just talking about of like going for something. Like they were talking about like Richard Branson. He started like a publishing company when he was like 15, where like by conventional wisdom that's like a stupid thing to do. If you would ask somebody, I'm going to start a publishing company and I'm 15, I know nothing about the industry, people would say, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
But he did it because he was naive. So it's like, yeah, I can do this. Why not? I know nothing about that.
There's a fearlessness.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like naivete and fearlessness in the thing, because you're not imagining what's the worst that can happen. I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
People are gonna make fun of me. You're just like, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, when you're a young kid, 8-year-olds or whatever, you are like that kind of naive where you're just like, I'm gonna go for things.
Yep.
Whatever. I don't have to think about. I'm not gonna think about all these kind of other impacts of what I'm doing. And
Right.
Especially what other people are thinking.
That is a thing, because you want to know why, and that's why sometimes when you look at people and you meet them and you wonder, how did that guy this? Because you know who is not afraid? Dumb people.
Yeah,
They are,
right.
oh my God. Boy, don't dumb people show up to a lot of things?
Yeah.
Aren't dumb people trying to draw too?
Yeah.
And then you've got your friend who's amazing at it, and then they can't get it together. But this dummy over here who can't draw nothing, he's getting it done. He's up to his 79th comic strip.
Right.
And you're still working on.
Dependable.
Yep.
Like so many times, and then they get all the hatred. Right? Like, how did that guy get big? Yeah, because he did it.
Because he showed up.
Yeah.
That is so much of the battle is showing up. Comes for me.
Oh my God.
But half the battle is showing up.
I left my phone over the fence.
Oh, go get the phone
grab
out.
it. Yeah,
That's probably what it was. I
That's
heard
what
something ring. Don't hurt yourself. Don't stub your toe. I'll just shout to you. I'll just shout all of my wisdom and knowledge from across the deck. No running by the pool. Don't hurt yourself. You two over there, you watch yourself.
I got it.
Don't hurt.
Got it.
Don't slip.
Okay, I got it.
Watch out. Remember, I still broke my foot.
I know.
It's horrible.
Sorry.
You want to see it?
No.
Oh, okay. So
Go on.
what's it? So the whole thing about the naivete is that I would meet plenty of dumb people because I owned a store. So you got all these people that show up,
Right.
and boy, there are some talented folks in town. And I would approach some of the talented folks, and those talented folks had 38 reasons to not do the project.
I'll think about it.
Well, and not even about renting space or anything, not about trying to get any money done. These people that come into classes are people that come in for advice, or they ask you because, you become a figurehead in a way. Like that was a lot of what my goal with ConsCon was. I have figureheads here. I have this person does this type of illustration, this person does whatever, this person does whatever. If you need someone to talk to about, cartooning, I'm your cartooning guy. Animation, I got my friend Dan. Oh, this type of thing. Painting, I got this girl here. Photography, a couple people. That was the idea, right? And you'd have all these people that walk in, and boy, they're dumb as a stump, but they are motivated. And then you got all these smarty pants people who have all the skills, and they can't move. They can't. They think and they think and they think and they think.
Yeah.
I've got a story bigger than Star Wars. That's always what I hear. It's bigger than Star Wars, 13 volume, whatever it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, do you have a script? So that's already
Thinking about it. It's gonna happen.
Yep. I'm like, write it down.
Yeah.
And then another time I'm like, okay, give me four pages. Just show me your character waking up. Remember, this will happen at some point in your 13 volumes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll
You'll
wake
have
up.
that
So what's
scene.
it look like when your character wakes up and starts his day in 4 pages and they never come back?
Right.
Because they just don't do the work. They sit and they hum and they hum. And
think of obstacles. Too.
yeah, they think of all the obstacles. They think of all the things that they need to do to be successful. I'm like, what you need to do is the work. And that is some of the problem. So naive people, okay, they're fearless because they're not thinking about repercussions or what could this
I
be?
need to think about branding. How am I gonna?
Yeah,
it's not-
cost,
none
and they're
of
already buying their Comic-Con spot before they have a comic out. That is a real fact. Like that happens, and I meet people that do this because a big problem with people these days is that everyone meets you, and then the house is burning down.
Okay.
Oh, I met you, and you do websites. I need a website.
Oh yeah, okay, right now.
And it's like, what if I didn't show up to this bar this weekend? Leave me alone. Like, yes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And that's the thing about kids. Kids are dumb. So they're naive. They're not afraid of anything yet because they're dumb. All right? And that's not a knock on kids. We're all kids.
No, I would
We're
like
all
that.
dumb
That's what
kids.
this article is about, like, if you can tap into that kind of naivete where you're not thinking about what would happen. Well, I got this, and
Yeah.
then you get things done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like.
And I'll tell you, a lot of the thing that I think people are the most afraid of is just judgment. It's not even failing.
Yeah,
it's
I think
judgment.
that's a lot of it.
You
for
know,
sure, yeah.
because this has been a big thing that I've found over the last few years about how I said I want to get more into character work, you know, and like that's what I've been doing. And is there a right way to be a pirate? Yeah, there's some basics, that sort of
Sure,
thing.
if you
Eye
have-
patches, a hat, parrots.
Right.
But then is there a wrong way to do it? Once you get those basics down,
Yeah, somebody identify you got the outfit, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, this guy's a pirate.
He's a pirate.
You could be a guy from Brooklyn or something
right.
as a pirate.
I could
and
talk
people
in my
get it.
regular accent. It's
Yeah, yeah,
fine.
yeah.
That's part of the character. That's
Sure,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pirate from Brooklyn. The end.
Yeah.
Like, there you can't do it wrong, right?
Yeah. I'm Hudson.
Yeah. I wanted the pants to be this way, not that. Guess what? No one in the crowd is going to say, he's all right, but I bet if he had these pants instead of those pants, this might be. No. So it's all these little judgments that people do, and they're afraid of being judged. And this was the thing that I said where it's a weird superpower where I don't get embarrassed. I've found that. Like, I'm like, let's dress as a pirate. Let's be space face. Let's be a maniac. Let's dance in the streets. Let's go. I'll be the one that starts the dancing. That's the hardest thing to do, go dance by yourself on a stage.
Yeah, right.
Get on up here. Remember the chicken dance? I do the chicken dance by myself.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Right, but people join in.
And people join in
Yeah.
because you've made it
And that's again to go back to kids, right? That they don't think twice
Kids
about going.
don't think about how
the
silly they
mermaid
look
thing.
dancing.
Come on stage and dance.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing I'd rather do right now.
Right, and that's the thing. And I think that I see more because I just came from teaching kids. That's what I was just doing.
Yeah.
I was teaching kids how to draw cartoons and all the fun stuff that goes with that, but trying to get them to be original
Right.
and talk about originality and original characters and just not being afraid, dare to be different, that sort of thing. But how you can stand out with a skill, because I can see how quiet a lot of them are and how intimidated they are because
Yeah.
naive or not, the world can be intimidating. And that's the thing that comes with being younger, is that it can be intimidating, but that's where you just gotta put your head down, walk toward what scares you.
Certain age. How old are these kids?
These are fifth graders.
Okay.
So there's
you're getting
a cusp
towards
that you
middle
can see.
school, Yeah.
Yes.
So you already.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see the ones that are starting to blossom and the ones that aren't,
Right.
because man, the thing that blossoms other than physical parts and puberty, it's your brains, and you start to worry. It's almost like
Yeah.
Adam and Eve. It's like you get to that age and all of a sudden it's like you bit the
Yeah.
apple.
Right. So to go back to like that kind of adorable thing we were talking about the 80s and 90s, like I feel like in some ways like the internet kind of ruined that because it did pull the curtain a little bit
Well, that is-
on
you
how
know
things
what?
work. Like we do know how like the sausage is made a lot more.
Yeah.
Now. Even like the political system and all these things, and I think that has something to do with how conspiracy theories are spread now, because now it's like, oh, this is what's been happening, and then all these kind of alternative.
It's
theories.
on the internet.
Yeah,
It must be true.
Yeah. But I think that's part of that, and does make you cynical in a way, because you do get cynical as you get older, and you see
Yep.
high school kids, right? Because then they're it's all phony now.
Yep.
And you overstate the phoniness of things, because it's like not everything's phony, but I could see how you would think that the world appears that way.
Yeah.
And even now, I mean, where we have Facebook and stuff, it's easier for kids to see what their teachers are doing in life. Like they'll still see which
think
is different, right? Because when
very
we were in
different.
school, your
When-
teachers were some sort of other being.
They were like another being. What were your parents like? Were you like mom and dad, or was it more like we're equals?
Yeah, I would say somewhere in between those two things.
Because that's how I revere my parents. It's my mom and my dad. They know everything.
Well,
and my
for
dad's
sure,
a smart guy,
definitely.
so he does still to this day.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, it's more so.
yeah,
for sure. Like
okay. I think that's less common now with this generation
Right.
of parents, where I've seen the problem. From my perspective, a lot of the problem is, and I realize this too. You know what I said before about being embarrassed? A lot of people are hung up, and I think it is our generation. They're hung up on being cool. what that is.
Yeah, wanting
Our
to
parents,
appear, yeah,
yep, our
for sure.
parents didn't really have that or care about that as much. I think it was more of like a sect. They were called greasers, and they were the hippest. But it was more of like, oh, those are the cool. A lot of people were not. Now everyone's kind of focused on cool. They're really obsessed with the standards because
Right. Yeah,
of
you even
things
see like older
Facebook.
adults that are like concerned with like likes and
More than
retweets
anything.
and stuff like
yeah,
why do you
100,
care?
all that stuff, fashion, always all that,
Yeah.
and keeping up with everything, keeping up with music, keeping up with all that stuff, and trying to be pals with their kids.
Yeah,
you know
that
that
does
is a
happen,
definite thing that it's different, and some of it's the over PC stuff, some of it's whatever, but I think a lot of people are obsessed with kind of coolness. That's always been my theory to all of this, and it's funny because it's a paradox. Because what's the definition of being cool? Really, it's when you don't care. It's when you don't care, when you're aloof, when you've got it.
Yeah,
You are
like
genuinely
you're-
cool.
yeah.
Right. So not caring about being cool is what makes you cool. Like that's the thing.
Right.
You know? And that's a big factor I think that I've seen affect a lot of people. And they are afraid to dance like nobody's watching. They're
Because
afraid
that
to
means
do
like,
it.
yeah, they care about something.
Yes, and that's some of it. And mostly what they care about is judgment at any age. So I see this with the kids, and it is that they are a little more afraid to experiment, you know, with things like that, and try the art and all the failing, because there is this intimidation, and it is the internet. It is that thing, and we talked about this. Everything is a yin and a yang, right? And that was the adorableness of the time we grew up in, all the way up till about the mid-90s. I think, again, I've dated myself with AOL discs came out in sophomore year of my high school. So I got to high school, and that's when AOL starts to become a thing.
Yeah, it was
So-
like junior year for me.
Yeah.
I had Sega Saturn. That was my first.
Oh, cool.
That was my first internet experience.
Oh, really?
Did it with a controller. Yeah.
Mine was
Took forever. to
Mine
type.
was Prodigy, and it was the Anarchist Cookbook, the very first thing on the
Okay,
internet,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was like the first thing on the internet.
Yeah.
But my neighbor had Prodigy, and he knew all this stuff, and
Okay.
he liked it. It was like, you know, DOS-based, typey internet.
Yeah.
Yep,
Huh.
but he was onto it early. But AOL is when everything became mainstream internet for promote, but they are actually full of baloney about because the world doesn't want you to be different.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, all right? Because it doesn't reward uniqueness. It makes you
No,
freak.
it doesn't.
It makes you an outcast. It makes you...
Uniqueness can be successful, but it's not successful because of the uniqueness.
Right.
It's just
uniqueness is a
you're at the right
hard
place at the right time.
it's a hard mountain to climb.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and it's way easier to blend, and it's way easier to fade in the background. Uniqueness and individuality is a thing to just really like to plant a flag as this is who you are. Even if it is, for me, I remember when I dyed my hair green, and it was like, yeah, I'm making a statement. I am different. I am different. That comes with a lot of bullying and a lot of baloney, but it's like, you got to go home and go, no, I knew that going in, it's fine. It's fine.
And now it's not even a thing.
And now it's not even a thing. I remember, right, when I was going to school, remember?
Yeah.
Freaks.
Yeah,
you know?
freak kids, yeah.
Yep.
And now it's like a stylish thing to do.
Everyone does it.
red hair.
Well, none of that. I mean, you go to school and it's all fifth graders. They all have mohawks and green hair.
Yeah,
blue hair.
for
It doesn't
sure.
matter.
Yeah.
They're all like little anime characters. So, but I mean, I don't. When you said that thing that you said to the kids, because again, nothing's going to sing it. But even today, I got a little frustrated because you want them to pay attention.
Right.
And they're just talking over you in the back, being jerks.
So you want them, my captain, like,
Yeah.
you've changed my life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do get that the years down the line.
And well, that's the point.
You do, but
and that's the point.
Yeah,
and that's what.
But it's not that immediate in the moment light bulb.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing can be. It's rare.
No, and we don't do that either. We
Right.
hear things like, I'll think about it later. Oh yeah, that guy was right.
Yeah.
This is what he said would happen.
You know?
Yeah.
And even if something does, if you say something, I'm like, oh yeah, no, you are right. Then it is still like, go home, drive home, eat it, and I'm like, yeah, then it sinks in. I think that's the other thing.
Yeah, and the person that tells you probably doesn't even know that you got it either.
Right,
They don't
because it's a
know about it.
conversation.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, you gotta hope things I said to them today sink in. And the only way that happens is they're all going home with comics later today. You gotta hope that a parent says, what is that?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Tell me more about it. You know, do you enjoy it? And follow through with all these things.
Yeah.
When people show an inkling, I don't care how old you are, you see me do it all around here at Creative Tucson, like if someone shows up and shows interest, I don't care how old they are, come on down. Let's have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's not about any age or whatever. It's about, you can do it, don't worry about it. Any excuse to leave the house, don't worry about it. Come join a club, don't worry about it. I told all those kids today, join clubs, do this stuff. Like, you make friends with strangers. I told them some of the importance of why they're in school. You learn about being a person in school, you know?
Yeah.
But I found it to be fascinating. Like, that was a big part of the day. And it is. It's funny because you can tell they are not as naive. No kid or person can be. I realized this a long time ago. It's a choice. It's a choice. Because if you want to learn piano, do you need a piano instructor for hundreds of dollars? Do you need your mom and dad to pay for lessons, or can you just go type it on YouTube? Yep. And then if you want a piano, do you need to buy a piano anymore? Can you just roll one out? And you can, and they're not expensive.
Yeah. So to go back to like the cynicism thing, right? So it's, I guess, the thing I was thinking about was like, how do we, with if more information creates, it's a good thing obviously to have more information, know how the world's working, and if you're being screwed over and things like that, but also it creates a cynicism, and it's like,
It
how
just
do you
depends on who you are.
find the balance of that?
Because you got to balance it out with what you look at.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it all the time. Like I feel like
I
I'm
beat
more
away-
cynical about the world than I was.
Well, a lot of the world's changed recently
I don't
that you
think it
can.
has, though. I don't think the world's changed.
I think the veil got pulled back. That's what we talked
Exactly.
about with
But I don't think the
Naivete.
world has pretty much been the same, and now we're realizing like how it works, and that's what's created that sense of cynicism. But it's like, can you put the genie in the bottle, or you don't want to, because now you know how it works. It's like, why you're not going to go back to being ignorant again.
No,
So that's a
but
hard thing to.
It's not about ignorance. It's about what you look at. And I'm not saying live in a bubble, but I'm like, for every horrible thing I find on the internet, you can go find the good news.
Yeah.
You
Right,
can
that's
go
been
find,
said,
like,
too.
here's a story of a wrestler with a Make-A-Wish kid and all that stuff, and it makes me cry all the time. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
sucker for John Cena.
Right.
But
And even that kind of stuff, there's still cynicism around that. Oh, he's just trying to get a photo op. You know, like that's, I was seeing something today.
But the thing is that you have to.
There was somebody today who was criticizing that David Hogg kid, for example, like the Parkland kids is a good example.
Okay.
They're all now being accused of they're trying to like profit off of their friends getting murdered in school. Like that's the level of cynicism we're seeing now. Is like these kids are just.
But
in
now
reaction
you're
to-
saying that as if someone's shouting on a megaphone, that message, right? That you just told me. These kids, and they're trying to just get the money from the payday. Is there not plenty of people shouting, look at those kids, good for them, go for them.
Sure, but then there's your divide right there.
And that's what you have, it's a balance. Everything's a yin yang.
So what should we do to those people then?
You have to lead by example. You have to show people that, like the thing I'm saying about John Cena, oh, right, I probably just did that for a photo op. I'm like, yeah, he just beat 1001. He's the most Make-A-Wish person of all time.
Yeah, of course, right.
So that's how you then, so what could you say to that? Oh, well, then that's obviously your problem, sir, if you're still negative. After we've now provided proof. And that's the thing, proof. And that's obviously a big problem that we're missing these days. Because it's not proof, it's just opinion and speculation. People often believe the bad news before they believe the good news. Did you hear about Joel? He kicked a puppy down the street. I'm not surprised, it's Joel. Did you hear about Joel? He donated his entire paycheck to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. Joel?
He thinks
really?
he's so great.
Right, but notice, really? They doubt that, and then people accept negativity. And then they might give it, he thinks he's so great. Does he? Who knows? Who knows what his motivation is? You could say, no, actually his dog got hit by a car last week, so he felt.
Yeah.
Is someone then gonna still say, well, he was probably beating the dog. Like, there's only so much of a chain that someone could go down. I don't think that there is more cynicism, because I'm sorry, the 90s were really depressing and really full of the grunge era and gangster rap and negativity.
I don't think it was like now, though. I think it's a different kind of cynicism. And I think it was more it was localized too. I think that was certain areas. You were seeing people kind of sticking it to the man, but you weren't doing it yourself.
Well, how do you mean?
Like, so there was like this angry kind of.
There was a lot of them.
Particularly in Seattle, there was like the World Trade Organization protests. So it was that area particularly.
Yeah.
But I think it was more of kind of a play acting thing on the part of most people. Like, I don't think they were really that cynical about the world.
If you look at the media, look at the movies, look at the movies about college kids, okay? Look at the music. That was a very angsty, aggressive time. It was the response to that clean-cut 50s, 80s I was talking about.
Yeah.
The 90s.
I guess it was Clinton and Lewinsky was a big one too.
That was a big change.
Because I said like Watergate, like post Watergate, that's how people were. They became like really cynical, and then it led up to a decade where it was like, you know, high drug use and, you know, all kinds of bad stuff. Sort of the fallout of the 60s, the fallout of Vietnam. And then you could say the same thing about the 90s, where like the Clinton thing, it did pull the veil back. It's like, oh,
I remember
this is what our president's doing.
And that's still late 90s. Okay?
Yeah.
That's late 90s, where, again, it took that guy off a pinnacle place, like a mom or a dad, and all of a sudden, Mr. President, like, how could you do such a thing? We like to fantasize about these things that, like, as if Superman never gets laid, as if Superman never drinks a beer. But then you see the movies like, no, he does, because he's a man. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's a part of it. And you don't think of these figures that they would do anything, let alone do anything skanky or scandalous like he did, you know? But you still got all that beginning 90s. And again, it was the beginning. That's when gangster rap comes out. That's when that's this big movement of that, all right?
Well, that was another veil being pulled too, because it's like, not like those guys just started. Like, it was kind of putting out there like, yeah, we've been being beaten by the cops for like 30 years.
Yeah, but was the music as aggressive and full of angst, cursing, calling them out on it? I don't remember a lot of 80s jams calling people out.
No, I didn't say that was. No,
Okay,
I'm saying that cops beating up people had been happening for decades.
Right.
And it hit a boiling point where it's like, we're going to talk about this now. And that's what the form it took was gangster rap.
Right.
Graffiti and that whole culture
Right.
behind it.
Aggressive.
Right. But it didn't mean that this, like, the people were now just starting to be aggressive. It just hit a point where it's like, now it's time to speak out against it. It was like the Me Too thing. Like, same thing, like, these things have been going on for years.
Sure.
And now it's a point to, now we're going to pull the curtain, and here's the reality of what's been going on for a long time.
Sure, but again, notice how before that it wasn't in the media. It was Urkel is the media. There was a veil. There was a bigger naivete and a veil. The families got together on Friday nights to watch TV together, and it was Perfect Strangers and Urkel and Bob Saget on Full House, and everyone's just squeaky clean nonsense still going on since Donna Reed and Happy Days and stuff. And then things got what? In the 90s, real. Things are real. That's my point.
Yeah,
about
we're
how.
talking about the same thing, too.
No, I know. but that's my point, is that, like, right, I'm sure that police brutality was going on in the 80s. There wasn't mainstream attention to it as much by the big performers that are winning the awards and being put on pedestals for their creativity as their answer to all this stuff that's actually going on. the entire era was very aggressive. Even that's why people talk about the attitude era of wrestling. It's like, it wasn't wrestling was aggressive, everything was aggressive. The music was aggressive, the cartoons got more violent and pushed the envelope. Everything started to really push the envelope.
Yeah.
And that was a big, big change.
And it always does go after like sort of repressed and,
Oh, yeah.
and the aggression, because if you think about like early 2000s, how was that post 9/11? Remember how everything? Ooh, don't say that. You're saying the
was
word towers? No, Lincoln.
Right.
It's no towers.
And that's exactly what pumped the brakes on a lot of it.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I'm just a guy who's always paid attention to this sort of stuff. And remember, if you talk about regions, like, yeah, it was in New York, you know, so an already relatively hostile place to grow up, you know, but still having that, like I say, that kind of 50s nostalgia for my suburbs, and it was fine, and going to school and all that. But it was that. I remember when 9/11 happens and how much everything shifts. The entire, all of our country, everything societal, it changes. They did censor everything. I remember you can't have.
You can't play.
You can't play Let the Bodies Hit the Floor on the rock and roll radio stations. You can't play this. You can't mention the towers. We got to pull that episode of The Simpsons off TV. We got to do this. We got
They
to.
still edit when Biggie says blow up like the World Trade. They still edit that.
Really?
Yeah, even here on the radio stations. It's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 years after.
No kidding.
So yeah, it became. Yeah,
Well, what was he referencing? Was he referencing the first World Trade, or was Biggie
that
around
was
when
that was
happened?
before. That was the
Yeah.
first World Trade. So
Right.
it wasn't even.
that one.
9/11. Yeah.
Shocking.
So yeah, so it became very kind of repressed. So it's
Right.
almost like slingshotted what
Yeah.
we have now.
Because I feel like, because again, you could see it's just this kind of public sway. America at that point also had this weird invincibility feeling, where you just didn't think of things like this ever happening.
Sure, like an invasion.
Like Pearl Harbor, that's in the past.
Right.
No one would do anything
We
like
have
that.
the biggest military in the world.
That's
Why would
old-timey
somebody-
stuff.
Yeah, but it wasn't a military attack. It was
No.
this very kind of different thing.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's the other thing that I notice now, is that there is still a weird naivete now, all right, of being naive. And it was when.
Yeah, I'm sure in 10 years we're going to look back and be like,
we always
so
will.
naive
No,
in
I know.
2018?
No, we were.
But it's about different things.
I'm going a few years ahead.
You think you know how. That's also this article is talking about too, about the encouraging naive is people who aren't naive or overly like intellectual is they think they're in control and that they know what's going on. But everyone, we all know, we know very little. You
Right.
know, when it comes to, that's what the history of the world is
Right.
people knowing more and more stuff
Yep.
and not realizing like, oh, that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, so
Turns
perfect-
out this stuff's poison.
Yeah, perfect example. Am I right? I know. I love finding that out. I can't wait to find these things out. What causes autism? Microwaves. Oh, who knew? Like, you're going to find out it's just something that like we've all been doing. But light bulbs,
Why do I have-
apparently.
Why do I have no lips?
Yeah.
Were you eating Jell-O?
I have no lips.
Yeah.
That damn Cosby strikes again.
No, he's all behind it.
When Putin invaded the Ukraine, I just remember how everyone reacted. You can't do that. That's not polite.
Yeah, we should tell him to
We
stop.
should,
Angrily.
and it was just everyone I watched, just everybody didn't know what to do and thought that like he's not allowed to do that.
Right.
And it's
right.
like
you don't do that stuff anymore. At
Right,
least, like,
and you gotta
'cause at the time we were looking. Putin was a legitimate sort of leader. Like he won an election. We didn't
Yeah.
know really what was going on over there. But you see, oh, this is a president. Wait, he's invading.
he's invading a country and taking it over?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do that. And it's like, I remind a bunch of people, I'm like, the game of Risk went on until the Cold War.
Right.
Like, where it was still world powers, world powers.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it's not long ago that this could all, boom, change.
And from another perspective, you could say that we've been invading all these different countries
Well, I know,
different
it's
times. I
horrible.
mean, when you kind of put it that way, right?
So when you think about that, think about the big American machine and how it all works, the big war machine. But like people's response to that was like, it's not fair that he's doing it. It's like, that's not how it works. That's not how
Hitler,
it works.
you better stop that.
And that's my point. Yes.
Cut it out.
Yes. And people are like that a bit, where they're just almost desensitized to some of this stuff, where they're like, that's just not, as if they think the past is the past.
I feel like a lot of it is like the white supremacy thing is kind of like that too. Like, no, we don't have that anymore. You know, 'cause it's like this old style thing that you thought was kind of died out, and no, it turns out there's like,
well, black president was a big step, we thought.
see,
but to every yin yang,
but even
everything
in like the
has a
90s,
rubber
I would
band.
assume like, that stuff's over now, right? We certainly don't still have insane people who are like Nazis now.
Yeah, but well, it was the other thing. Back then, there was a lull because they weren't as able to communicate.
I don't know,
and
maybe we
find,
just
no, there
didn't
was.
know. Yeah.
I've statistics because it has been the dark web, the internet, meaning rats in their holes and sitting there. I do hate this. You know why guys hate women, some of them? Because they can't get a date,
yeah.
and they're intimidated, so they hate women. They hate them, they blame them.
Incel, what is the thing, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Involuntary celibate. Incels.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what they call themselves. It's like a whole, like, you know, no one will have sex. Well, I wonder why. You're so charming.
Yeah, I should work on some of that. How about dance lessons? You know what used to work in the 80s? Dancing.
Yeah.
All right? I don't know when we
Dress
lost
nice,
that.
you know,
Yeah.
it turns out
Clean it up a
women
bit.
like that,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is like sort of having your cake and eating too. Like, I want to be my myself, but I also want her to have sex with me. It's like, well, you kind of have to find.
You got to change who yourself is, because yourself is a
so,
hateful bastard.
Exactly. If you're, that's what you're putting out to the world.
And that's, again, now is this all like, oh, this has been going on? Remember, like-minded people are finding like-minded people. How many people do you think believed in flat Earth in the 90s? I'm willing to bet less.
Yeah,
But then you have some people that
well, maybe.
Here's 10,000 people that think it, because there are in a club on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh.
The thing that bothers me with that stuff too, because it's often conflated with like being open-minded. Well, just be open-minded about this flat Earth thing, but it's
Be open-minded to facts.
Yeah, no, that's not what I think of as being open-minded. It's just like taking any insane theory someone throws at you and considering it. Like, no, it's not. It's been settled science at this point for a long time.
I wonder when people will really start to go on, like, maybe we are on the back of a giant space turtle.
Yeah.
That will happen, because we all know that one. That's a joke, right? Why do we know that meme?
Discworld, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a meme from when we were growing up.
Sure.
We didn't call them memes then, but that's just this kind of old thing, right? Oh, let's go look up how many people believe that we are on the back of a space turtle. They're like, no.
Right.
That is it.
Abductions, that lady that's running right now.
Yep. And that was big in the 90s.
Sure.
And then it kind of went away because people, X-Files was done. Like, sightings was popular. Yeah. That was a thing that happened. Aliens was a thing, just like zombies became popular and robots became popular.
Now it's deep state.
Now it's the deep state. But that is a lot of it. It's knowledge is power, but then it depends on how you use knowledge and what you're knowledgeable about.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is, is ignorance bliss? I don't think so.
No.
But when you're growing up, yes, you don't need to worry about all the world's problems. You don't need to worry about paying bills. You don't need to worry about all that stuff when you're still trying to discover who you're going to be. As you're molding this whole thing, that's when it is good to be naive. It doesn't matter that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
let it all influence you and however.
Oh, air pollution here, but which car am I going to buy for my eco footprint? How about worry about what color you want to make the cartoon character I helped you invent today? Why don't you worry about getting better at your free throw or learning how to dance or getting a skill so that as you get older and now it is time to worry about some of the real problems, you are capable of worrying about them because you've built up who you are. Now it's time to see how you fit in to that and what you can make the world be with you now in it as as another addition to it. I think this last part was good. That was really good.
Yeah, it was nice. And that outfit as well.
Right.
Delivering that, you know who you are. All right.
Sensible.
On that, it's getting late. These clouds seem to be rolling in a little bit. What's going on with this monsoon? I need some more rain here.
I would love more monsoons.
Me too.
Bring it on, monsoons.
Yeah, I know. I'm disappointed with this monsoon season. That's
terrible.
That's my it's my final comment.
More negativity. Joel.
Boo! I want rain.
I demand more rains.
Yeah.
Who you want to blame for the rain? I'm sure someone does that. There's a song about it. They blame it on the rain. I'm not sure who does it though.
Milli Vanilli.
Ah, those thinking liars. Bunch of fakes and lies. You can't. When we were all naive and we thought Milli Vanilli were talented.
That was another thing too. I know. Yeah. Forget about that.
You could get away. You could get away with so much.
And I was mentioning this too, like Ricky Martin, Elton John. We never had any idea.
People just love to live in their perspective, don't they? Yeah. And even if it's just and then people will still, but I like Tiny Dancer. I mean,
you still like it.
He's just
the
a
song
performer.
hasn't changed.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury. Yeah, I'm sure. Straight as an arrow. People don't want because people still want to believe what they want to believe, even if something is like,
my world. It's again going back to the naive world. I was happier when I knew that he didn't have all this loaded stuff, personal stuff. I wanted him just to be this figure that was on stage and sung to me.
Is there not? Let me ask you this before we wrap it up. I'll risk the sunburn.
Oh.
If you found out if you found out that like one day that you are at home and you write something, you write a thing, and then you send it, and all of a sudden some dude shows up and is like, well, you did figure it out. Huh? Well, that thing you wrote, no, you're on another level. It's kind of like the way the Vulcans met like the humans. They reached warp, and then that said, oh, they've evolved to the point where they've reached warp, and then Vulcans show up, and it proves aliens exist, right?
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so
what a
like
pinnacle
the red
moment.
pill, blue pill kind of moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you had that moment where someone says, nope, you've been right. For me, it's it would be this weird belief that that we're all transmitters and receivers. Okay, I believe very much in that. We all give out waves, all right? Brain waves, there's radio waves everywhere. There's all these waves flowing through us, all this sort of thing. And then sometimes you see people and it's like, you have the same thought at the same time. Or so you go to pick up the phone and you're both thinking about each other at the same time.
Sure.
Things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, And then
Synchronicities.
yes, and stuff like that. I do think that we are all broadcasters and receivers, right? As if it is like a thing. And then I think that maybe there is some big switch. Imagine there is. Imagine somewhere there's a big switch that just says like,
nope.
that says like, you've been picking up the creative wave. We send out this creative wave that exists, and you're in tune with it. You know. You can't hear the music one because I'm terrible at music, but that guy over there, see why he's so good at music? He can hear that wave. We broadcast that wave. It gets broadcast, and he picks it up.
Right.
Okay, and again, it's nonsense. This is
No,
not
I
a
see what you
religious
mean.
belief.
It's almost like a stream of water where you're able to. Our world is kind of this just huge canvas, and you're somehow able to like dial into this kind of singular signal, is what you're calling it, and a drop of water, if you want to think of it that way. So it's like you're able to take this giant tapestry of things and somehow like focus in on one thing.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't mean to do it.
Yeah. So like,
I mean, that makes sense.
and I
not
wonder,
too crazy.
I wonder about it because sometimes you see these celebrities or
I
some
don't know if
certain
it's the
people.
switch part of it. It might
It's
not
too
be
basic, right? As if there's some
a
machine
little, like,
that they
fox
built.
that-
Yeah, and it's all like steampunky, and they're like, we turn this crank, and that's imagination.
But wait, we have all this technology. Why are you so?
The technology's a sham. It's all based on this. It's powered by banana peels. Yes, it's the secret.
It's all a projection.
Like this is how I'm imagining. And one day, some kooky, he comes in and he just says, "No, you figured it out. We transmit waves.
Yeah.
Would you like to be one of the people that? Perhaps
you can be the one who's
right
doing
Just
the
to turn the
switch.
crank. Like I feel like."
Yeah.
As if there was like some secret to it all, not the secret, but some secret to it all, of that, as if there would be like, oh no, that's why this happens,
Right.
because you're picking up this signal, and that's why it's like surround yourself by positive people and think positive, all this stuff, because I do believe very much in that, and I used to be a very negative person, but I did change a lot of the way that I think and my defaults. I got rid of default negative. That's what I call it. I'm like, you're default negative. You always think the worst thing's going to happen. And that will always keep you home. You know? Oh, I'm just going to, maybe this one. I'm probably not going to, it's not going to work out. Why bother? Then why bother anything? Also, I noticed my mom has this, and I suffered from this, a sense of dread. Dreading this. Dreading the flight. I'm dreading this thing.
What things are, right, is being afraid of the thing happening.
Yeah.
Even when getting surgery or something, like when you're going through it, it's just a thing it's happening to you. It sucks and it's painful.
That's scary. That's surgery, because some
No,
people
it's
are
scary
wrong.
though.
Right, that's scary.
The biggest thing is the dread leading up to
Yeah.
it. When you're there, it's just a thing. Like
You gotta just do
I
it.
got my teeth ripped out, and like I remember it, like, but it wasn't like in the moment, like.
Still, though, that's true. I would dread that. That's dread. I'm talking
You're
about.
dreading it though,
But that's fair. I don't want anything to go wrong in the surgery, and I don't want my teeth ripped out of my head. I'm talking about, hey, the family's coming over for Christmas. Oh God! What am I baking? What am I cooking? When are we this? Who's gonna this? Who's sleeping?
So
I'm like,
lower stakes kind of thing.
That's what I mean. Lower stakes dreading.
Is the leading up to it.
Yeah.
Is where you get all the anxiety
yeah,
from.
and that's my point. A lot of people dread things that don't need dreading. They don't need it because I'll tell you, we have a pretty consistently amazing Christmas every year. And every year I'll tell mom the same thing. I'm like, you're dreading it again. Why are you dreading this? Remember last year we had a conga line, and then we did this, and then we did that, and then this one got drunk, we had a blast?
Right.
What are you worried about?
Yeah.
Stop dreading it, because you're always afraid the other shoe's gonna drop, or something's gonna go wrong, or someone's gonna be upset. And it's like,
This is the year the murderous Santa's going to break in.
I'm always afraid of murderous Santa. Oh,
I don't know. It's Satan and Santa, pretty close.
It's so funny. I might surprise my family and show up for Christmas. We'll see. And I was thinking of dressing as the Santa, and I'm like, No, they might just get terrified and like hurl a knife. Like, what do I know? All of a sudden,
imagine that.
that's how I find out my dad keeps a gun under his pillow. Like I made
knew this moment would come.
Yeah, like that's not how I want to go out.
The night before he had a dream where Santa came in
Yeah.
and like robbed the place.
Yeah,
So it's fresh in his head. Yeah, a lot of yeah.
It's the truth. So anyway, naivete, it has its thing, but obviously
It does.
knowledge is power.
Yeah.
It does come with youth. I think it's okay to be naive when you're young, but when you get out of it, you grow up. Sometimes it's time to grow up.
Yeah,
grow up.
I hear you.
Do it.
All right.
Speaking of that,
Let's
get out of
out.
here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go. I'm burning up. Oh, my foot. Oh, my foot. Joel.
Just
Ah.